Hello and welcome back to Instant Seekh. मेरा नाम है कृष्णा कहार. In this video we will be continuing with our UGC NET Computer Science PYQ series. आज का ये वीडियो UGC NET June 2024 Computer Science Paper 2 का पार्ट 2 वीडियो है. पार्ट 1 में हमने ऑलरेडी क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 से लेकर क्वेश्चन नंबर 50 के सॉल्यूशंस को देखा था. ये वीडियो पार्ट 2 वीडियो है जिसमें हम क्वेश्चन नंबर 51 से लेकर क्वेश्चन नंबर 100 के सॉल्यूशंस को देखेंगे. ओके, सो विदाउट एनी ड्यू लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड. डू फॉलो अवर टेलीग्राम चैनल. PYQs की जितने भी डिटेल सॉल्यूशंस विद एक्सप्लेनेशन एज अ नोट इन PDF फॉर्म इज अवेलेबल ऑन टेलीग्राम चैनल, सो डू नॉट फॉरगेट to join the telegram channel as well. Okay, let's start with the questions. So question number 51 is, if f of n equal to 5 f n by 2 plus 3 and f of 1 is equal to 7 is a recurrence relation where k is positive integer, then f of 2 raised to k will be what will be the answer for f of 2k. Okay, let's start by solving step by step. So first of all, to solve this recurrence relation, f of n equal to 5n by 2 plus 3 with f of 1 equal to 7. Okay, let's first see the iterations. Okay, so if we substitute n, if we substitute this n by 2 raised to k, okay, then this will be our first equation. Okay, that is 5f2k minus 1 plus 3, and again if we go for the next iteration, that is 2k minus 2 raised to k minus 1, then we will be getting 5f 2k raised to minus 2. Accordingly, we continue this process until f of 2 raised to 1 is what 2 raised to 1 minus 1, that is 2 raised to 0 plus 3, and we will get 7. Okay, and if we try, now we will substitute this back, expressing in the form of what 2 raised to k. So if we substitute in the 2 raised to k form, you can see there is a number that is multiplied by 5 and then we are adding it by 3. Okay, so if you see here, f of 2 raised to 1, 5 into f of 2 raised to 0 plus 3, so we get the output what? Okay, 5 into 7 plus 3, that is 35, plus 3, that is 38. Now if we go for f of 2 raised to 2, f of 2 raised to 2, then what we are getting? 5 f 2 raised to 1 plus 3, 5 2 raised to 1 is 38, then 3 plus 3 will that give us 190. If you observe this, 7 is multiplied by 5 then added by 3. Again, whatever the output that we are getting, that is multiplied by 5 and we are adding it by 3, and this pattern repeats. Okay, this pattern repeats. So continuing this pattern, we can generalize. Each time we apply the recurrence, we multiply the previous term by 5. Okay, there we have multiplied our 38, number 38, right? We multiplied it by 5 and then we have added 3. So we can write this as a journal prop. Okay, where f of 2k will be equal to 5 raised to k f of 1 plus 3 into summation of I 0 to k raised to minus k minus 1. Okay, so this summation is what geometric series, and it can be summed as below given. Okay, summation of I 0 to k equal to minus 1, 5 raised to I can be given as 5 raised to k minus 1 divided by 5 minus 1. Okay, so 5 raised to k minus 1 divided by 4. So this expression, if you solve it, you will be getting f 2 raised to k equal to f raised to k into 7 plus 3 into 5 raised to k minus 1 divided by 4. And by solving this whole pattern, you will be getting f 2 raised to k equal to 35 into 5 raised to k minus 3, that is your first option will be a correct answer, that is 5 raised to k 31 by 4 divided by 3 by 4. So your answer A will be the right answer for this particular question. Okay, you can pause the video, you can go through the steps one by one. Okay, what is the first we have iterated the recurrence, and after that we have substituted, instead of n we have substituted 2 raised to k and then perform the iterations again, and we found out a certain pattern, that is we are whatever the output we are getting, that particular term is provided by multiplication by 5 and then addition of 3. Then we have summarized that, and after that we have, okay, summed and solved that particular expression. Okay, So the answer that we have got is 5 raised to k into 31 by 4 minus 3 by 4 is your correct answer, answer A for this particular question. Let's move on to the next. Okay, for the software quality assurance, which of the followings are correct? Okay, which of the following metrics or are correct? So execution of code for software quality assurance, execution of code, no, this is incorrect. Okay, no execution of code, yes, correct statement. Then again, prevention technique, yes, this is also correct. A corrective technique, no. Okay, now option A, that is execution of code, this is typically associated with software testing. With what? Software testing, which is part of quality control, not quality assurance. Okay, no execution, no execution of code. Okay, it is basically but involves SQA activity. Basically no execution of code focuses on process implementation. Okay, audits and reviews. Okay, so this is our one of the correct statement. Next, preventive technique focuses on preventing defects in the software process development. Okay, so this is also comes under software quality assurance. Last, a corrective technique, this refers to addressing defects, okay, after they have been identified, which is more aligned with quality control, not quality assurance. Okay, so your statement B and C are only true, and that is your answer. Option B is your correct answer for this particular question. Let's move on to the next. Okay, we have given list of divide and conquer algorithms, and we need to match up with the respective recurrence relation. Okay, so question number 53. So binary search, the easiest one. Let's start with, you should know the binary search. N by 2 plus 2 is the recurrence relation for what? Binary search. That is your option number A goes for 4. Let's try to eliminate. Okay, option A goes for 4. These three straight away you can eliminate. At least one or two you should be able to figure it out. Okay, so next let's see other options as well. Find maximum and minimum of a sequence. Okay, so this is done using this recurrence relation, that is 2f n by 2 plus 2. Okay, merge sort, what we do in merge sort, divide and conquer, this recurrence relation can be given by your second one, that is 2f n by 2 plus n. Okay, and your fast metric multiplication is what? Option number A. So your correct pattern is A goes for 4, B goes for 3, C goes for 2, and D goes for 1. So your matching option pattern is option D is your right answer for this particular question. Let's move on to the next. Okay, which of the following sequence A n are the solution of recurrence relation a n equal to 8 a n minus 1 minus 16 a n minus 2? Okay, so these are the options given. Let's check for one by one for them. For option A, let's check to find the recurrence relation a n or solution to the recurrence relation. Let's analyze option number 1. For constant sequence a n equal to 1. Okay, so if we substitute it in the equation, we will get 1 equal to minus 8, which is clearly false. Okay, so option A gets eliminated straight away. Next, a n equal to 2 raised to n. Okay, let's substitute in our equation. Once we have substituted, we will get 2. Okay, 2 raised to n equal to 8 into 2 raised to n minus 1 minus 16 into 2 raised to n minus 2. That will be equal to 8 into 2 raised to n divided by 2 minus 16 into 2 raised to n minus 2. At the end, you will be getting 2 raised to n equal to 0, which is also a false. Okay, which is also incorrect. Okay, so this as well gets eliminated. Let's see the next one, C. Okay, C a n equal to 4 raised to n. If we substitute this in our equation, we will be getting 4n equal to 2 into 4n minus 4n. Okay, so 4n equal to 4n, this is true, so this is a solution. Okay, a equal to 4 raised to n, is one of the solutions. Okay, let's check for the next one. D equal to n into 4 raised to 4 raised to n. Again, substitute by substituting this, you will be getting n into 4 raised to n equal to n into 4 raised to n. Okay, so this relation also holds, so this is also a solution. Okay, that is the option D is also a solution. And at the last, if we try minus 4, then you will be getting minus 4 raised to n into minus 4 raised to n equal to minus 3 minus 4 raised to n, which is invalid, which is what? Invalid. So this option gets eliminated. Okay, so your correct answer will be solutions for this recurrence relation will be an equal to 4 raised to n and an equal to n into 4 raised to n. That is your option C and D, and C and D only are the solution. That is your answer. Option C is your correct answer for this particular question. Let's move on to the next. Okay, we have given AMD instructions, microprocessor instruction. The instructions are add R1 comma A comma B, add R2 comma C comma D, multiply X R1 R2, evaluates X equal to A plus B into C plus D in which of the following: 3 address instruction, 2 address instruction, or 1 address instruction, or RISC instruction. Okay, see, RISC instruction are typically used to load store architecture where operations are performed between register and memory access is done through separate load and store register. Okay, so this option gets eliminated. Your RISC instructions are basically used to load and store architecture related operations. Okay, next, your 1 address instruction. Here only one address is specified, usually involving an accumulator like add a, okay, this type of instruction. So this also is incorrect with regards to the question. Next, 2 address instruction. In this type, basically 2 addresses are specified, or you can say operands are specified, and address serve both as input and output. For example, you can say add a comma b. Okay, would add the value of b to a and store the result in a. Okay, so this is 2 address instruction. Okay, so this also gets eliminated. So the given pattern is basically 3 address instruction. Okay, is basically what your option number A, 3 address instruction. Now how? See, 3 address instructions are type of computer architecture instruction where each instruction specifies 3 addresses or 3 operands. Okay, so the instruction add R1 comma A comma B adds the value of AB, adds the value of what? Adds the value of AB and stores the result in R1. Okay, getting it? Next, R2 C CD adds the value of C and D, and store it in R2. And similarly, multiply mul x R1 R2 will multiply the values of R1 will be multiplied by R2 and it will be stored in X. Okay, so this, if you evaluate this, so A plus B is added, C plus D is added, right, and their multiplication is done, and then they are saved in X, which is our pattern here. And so this is how it is evaluated. But the major part to remember here is it is in which pattern? It is in 3 address instruction pattern. So your correct answer is option number A is your correct answer. Let's move on to the next. Okay, next question number 56. Which of the following is not the goal of reverse engineering? Cope with complexity. Okay, cope with complexity is basically understanding large or complex system for maintenance or migration. This is a goal of reverse engineering where it is to simplify and understand the complex system. Okay, so this is one of the goal. Recover lost information. Yes, if design documents or source are missing, Okay, then reverse engineering helps to regenerate them. Okay, so this is also one of the goal of reverse engineering. Next, detect side effect. Okay, reverse engineering can help you understanding and identifying unintended consequences or side effects within a system. Okay, so this is also one of the goals of reverse engineering. Data flow is not the goal of reverse engineering. Why so? Because data flow is actually part of forward engineering, not reverse engineering. Okay, where it is used to as program analysis technique. Okay, it is used in compiler design, program optimization, and statistical analysis. Okay, so your data flow, that is your option D, is not a goal of reverse engineering and is your correct answer for this particular question. Okay, answer D. Let's move on to the next. Okay, next we have arranged the following so that they can be placed in perfect appropriate order. Okay, so this is regarding to software process model, I guess. So first of all is the communication part. First is communication part, then we have planning, then we do planning, after that modeling. Okay, then construction, implementation, and at last we do deployment. Okay, so first and foremost is the communication, that is your option number D, then planning, option A, then modeling, that is your designing part. Okay, that is your option number C. Okay, option C. Then construction, actual implementation, goes as option B, and then your deployment, option E. So your correct appropriate order will be D, A, C, B, E. Okay, that is your matching with option B is your correct answer for this particular question. Okay, so first comes the communication, then planning, then modeling, then construction, and then deployment. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, let's start with question number 58. Match the list question is there. Okay, batch program, multi-programming, time sharing, monitor, reentrant procedures. Okay, so time sharing, your time sharing is basically associated with how multiple users interact to the system simultaneously. Okay, minimizing the response time for the user. Okay, so this goes for option number 4. That option number 4, that is minimize the response time, goes for time sharing, that is option B. Next is your monitor. Monitor goes user no longer has direct access to the processor. Okay, so this option number 2 goes for C. Last, reentrant procedures allows more efficient use of main memory. Okay, they allows what? They allows more efficient use. Basically, reentrant procedures are designed to be safely executed by multiple threads simultaneously. Okay, that allows more efficient use of main memory. Okay, first batch programming goes to maximize processor usage. Maximize processor usage. Okay, so that multiple jobs can be run simultaneously. So A goes for 3. A goes for 3. So this 2 straight away gets eliminated. Okay, B goes for 4. Okay, so this 2 also get eliminated. A goes for 3, B goes for 4, C goes for 2, and D goes for first. So this is your correct matching option for this particular question, that is question number 58. Answer will be B. Let's move on to the next. Which of the following is not an object-oriented programming language? Perl, Python, Smalltalk, and SQL Plus. Straight away you can mark SQL Plus is not an object-oriented programming language because it's not a programming language. Straight away. Okay. It is a command line tool used for interacting with Oracle database. Okay, others are programming languages. So your correct answer will be SQL Plus is not an object oriented programming language. That is your option number D. Let's move on to the next. The order of steps of address translation in Linux virtual machine memory scheme will be. Okay, the correct order of steps in address translation in Linux virtual machine what can be the correct steps. Okay, so first is register. Yes, first register. First comes register. The process starts with the CPU register, which holds the base address of the page directory. Okay, next comes your page directory. The page directory is accessed using the base register base address that was stored in register. Okay, from the register to locate the page middle directory. To locate what? Page middle directory. So this will come your next page middle directory. Now the page middle directory is then used to find the appropriate page table. What? Appropriate page table. And at last, finally the offset within the page is used to access the exact memory location within the frame. That is, this will be at your last. Okay, so again I am repeating. Firstly, the process start with CPU register that holds the base address. Okay, that is option number A. Now using this the base address that is in register, page directory is accessed. Okay, that is option number C. Then to locate the page in the middle page middle directory, that is option number A. Next, the page middle directory is used to find the appropriate page table, that is your option number D. And after that, finally the offset within the page is used to access the exact memory location within the frame, that is option number B. So your correct pattern will be A, C, E, D, B. A, C, D, E, B, that is your option number B, your correct answer for this particular question. Okay, answer B. Let's move on to the next. Services provided by point-to-point protocol, PPP. Okay, what are the services provided? Frame format. Yes, frame format is used. Okay, PPP uses frame format to encapsulate network layer datagrams. Okay, next, establishment of the link. Yes, also PPP also provide mechanism for establishing and configuring the links. Okay, so this is also correct. Flow control, no, it doesn't allow help in flow control. Sequence numbering, no, it does not help in sequence numbering. Authentication, yes. PPP can provide connection authentication, transmission encryption, and compression related functions. So this is right. So your statement A, frame format, B, establishment of the link, and authentication are the functions, or you can say the services that can be served by point-to-point protocol. So ABC, ABE is your right answer. That is your option number A is your right answer for this particular question. Let's move on to the next. What is a perceptron in ANN? What is a perceptron? Okay, basically a perceptron is a simplest type of artificial neural network which consists of single layer of output nodes connected to a layer of input nodes. What I said, a single layer of output nodes that is connected to a layer of input node. It is a feed forward, meaning what? Meaning the data moves in one direction from the input nodes to the output nodes. It includes pre-processing of the input data, typically involving a weighted sum and activation function. Okay, so your perceptron is basically a simple type of artificial neural network which consists of single layer. You can see single layer of output nodes connected to layer of input nodes. It is feed forward neural network. That means the data moves in one direction, and it includes pre-processing, typically a weighted sum and activation function. So your option D is your right answer for this particular question. Okay, a perceptron is what? A perceptron is a single layer feed forward neural network with pre-processing. Okay, now what are the other options? Okay, wrong options also we can go through. A double layer associative auto associative neural network is incorrect because perceptron has only one layer. A neural network that contains feedback is incorrect because it is a neural network with feedback is basically a recurrent neural network, not a perceptron. Next, auto associative neural network, it's incorrect because auto associative networks are typically used for memory related tasks. For what? Memory related tasks. Okay, so this is also wrong. So your correct answer is option number D. Okay, let's start with question number 63. A list integer n such that f of x is O x raised to n for each of the following function. Arrange following according to the value of n in increasing order. Okay, so let's see one by one by substituting for the value of n. Okay, starting with to determine the list integer n. Okay, we need to analyze the growth of each function, that is x to infinity. Okay, so the term x 3x raised to 3 dominates as x tends to infinity, since log x raised to 4 grows much slower than the uh, x cube 3 into x raised to 3. Okay, therefore fx is dominated by 3 into x raised to 3, therefore n we can put it away as 3. So n for the first one, the n value is equal to 3. Let's see for the next one. F of x is equal to x raised to 5 plus x raised to 2 plus 1 divided by x raised to 3 plus 1. So the dominant term we note that x is raised to infinity. X5 is the numerator, dominates x square plus 1. X3 is the denominator, dominates 1. Thus we have x by 5. So we can simplify this as x upon 5 to x upon 3. Okay, that gives us what? X raised to 2. So our new n as compared to with equation o raised to x raised to n, our n becomes 2 here. N becomes 2. For the second equation we have n equal to 2. Next, okay, see operation we have again similarly x cube plus x square plus 1 divided by x square plus 1. Numerator x3 is the numerator dominates x square plus 1. Okay, so again x3 by x2, that gives us x. So so your n value will become 1, n equal to 1. Okay, last option, x square plus 5 log x divided by x square plus 1. Here x2 is the numerator, dominates 5 log x. Dominates what? 5 log x, and x2 is the denominator, dominates 1. Okay, so x square x2 by x2, that gives us 1. So n value here becomes 0. What? N value is 0. Okay, and since we have to ask to arrange this particular equation in the increasing order of n value, so the correct pattern will be D, as the D option value is n value is 0, then C n value is 1, then B n value is 2, and A n value is 3. So your correct pattern will be D C B A. That is your option number B will be your right answer for this particular question. Let's start with the question number 64. The cyclomatic complexity of the following graph is what? Okay, so the graph is given. Let's start. To determine the cyclomatic complexity of the given graph, we use the formula V of G is equal to E minus N to B. That is Maccabe's formula. Okay, so where Vg is the cyclomatic complexity, E is the number of edges in the graph, N is the number of nodes in the graph, and P is the number of connected component for a single connected graph, P equal to 1. Okay, so let's count the number of nodes present. Number of nodes are labeled 9 nodes. Okay, 9 nodes labeled from 1 to 10. Okay, you should be aware it is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. It is labeled from 1 to 10, but it is 9. Number 8 is missing. Okay, so total number of nodes are 9. Count the edges. If we count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 and 11. 11 edges are there. Okay, how many? 11 edges. Okay, so simply we can put in the formula, that is edges minus nodes plus 2p, p equal to 1 for this. So it will be 11 minus 9 plus 2, that is 2 plus 2 becomes 4 will be the complexity for the cyclomatic complexity for this particular graph. Okay, so option B is your right answer for this particular question. Let's move on to the next. Okay, arrange the following simple graph based on the number of spanning tree they have. Okay, K3 complete graph with number of complete graph with 3 nodes. Complete graph with what? 3 nodes. Okay, so a complete graph with 3 nodes has a spanning tree, that is a spanning tree 3. How many spanning tree it has? 3. K4 complete graph with 4 nodes. Okay, complete graph with 4 nodes has 16 spanning tree. How much? 16 spanning tree. Complete bipartite graph of the 2 nodes in each partition, that is a complete bipartite graph K2 comma 2 has 4 spanning tree. How much? 4 spanning tree. Cycle graph of 5 nodes has 5 spanning tree. How much? 5 spanning tree. Okay, so what we have been asked, arrange the simple graph based on the number of spanning tree they have. So the correct order will be A, 3 spanning tree, complete graph with 3 nodes, then K2 2 that is option C, your bipartite graph with 4 spanning trees, then cycle graph with 5 spanning trees, that is option D, then your K4 complete graph with 4 nodes, that is your option B. So correct pattern will be ACDB. ACDB, that is your option number B will be your right answer for this particular question. Okay, let's move on to the next. The least value of a signed and unsigned data type variables running 8 bits would be, as we know, this 8 bits for 8 bits variable signed and unsigned value that we have is what? -28 to 0. -128 to 0 is the correct answer. That is option number D is your correct answer. Okay, so -128 is for signed and 0 is for unsigned variables. Okay, so option D will be your correct answer. Let's move on to the next. So next we have line coding scheme. Question number 67, line coding scheme, and we need to match with their bandwidths, average bandwidths. So starting with the fourth, NRZL. Okay, it is a what? It is a line coding scheme where the signal level does not return to 0 between bits. Okay, and it is has the bandwidth that is n by 2. N by 2. Now second, 2B1Q, that is 2 binary, 1 quaternary, is a line coding scheme where 2 binary bits are represented by quaternary symbol. Okay, you can also remember it has the bandwidth of what? N by 4, quarter. Okay, so this goes for option number B. Next, DPAM5, 4DPAM5, 4-dimensional 5-level multi-amplitude modulation is a line coding scheme used in high-speed data transmission. Okay, and its bandwidth is n by 8. And last, MLT, that is a multi-level transmit 3, is a line coding scheme using 3 voltage level and bandwidth is n by 3 itself. Okay, so you are correct. Option is A goes for 4. A goes for 4. These two gets eliminated. Then B goes for first. So this also gets eliminated. A goes for 4. B goes for first. C goes for 2 and D goes for 3. So option C is your correct match the option for this particular question. Okay, let's move on to the next. Okay, the language of the following PDA would be what? Where QF is a final state. Okay, so let's mark this down. To determine the language accepted by push down automata, that is PDA, we need to analyze its transition and the behavior of the stack. Okay, so we have been given this. Okay, let's try to interpret from Q0 upon seeing an A with Z0 A with Z0 on the stack pushes it to 3 A's. Pushes it to what? 3 A's. Okay, here 3 A's onto the stack. From Q0 upon seeing, next, from Q0 upon seeing with an A onto the stack, pushes is to 3 A's onto the stack. Pushes it to what? 3A onto the stack. Again, 3 A's onto the stack. Next, upon viewing QB, upon seeing a B with A on the stack, it removes from the stack. It removes a from the stack using lambda. Okay, so it removes a from the stack. Now next, upon seeing this one, upon seeing a B with A on the stack, it continues to remove A from the stack. It continues to remove what? A from the stack. Now next, last one, Q1 reaches empty input. Okay, Q1 reaches empty input with Z0 onto the stack. It transition to QF and empties that stack. It does what? It empties the stack. Okay, now let's analyze. The PDA start in state 0, Q0 with Z0, Q0 with Z0 onto the stack. With what? Z0 onto the stack. For every trade in the state QO, it adds AAA on the stack, depending on whether it is Z0 or A. Okay. For every encountered B, it removes A from the stack, right? For every A, it adds what? 3 times A into the stack. And for every B encountered, it removes the A. It removes an A from the stack. Okay. Okay, if Z0 is encountered, it adds 3 A's to the stack, and if B is encountered, it removes a single A from the stack. When no input is left, that is empty input, if Z0 is on the stack, it accepts and move to QF. Accepts and move to what? QF. Okay, so from the key observation here, here is the balanced nature of stack operation. For each A, the stack goes by 3A. Okay, for each A, that is for each A, the stack grows by 3A. And for each B, the stack decreases. A basically Z0. Okay, and for each B, stack loses 1A. Okay, stack is decreased by 1. Okay, so the language accepted by the PDA will be A raised to N B3N, where N is greater than 0. That is your option number C will be your right answer for this particular question. Okay, why? Because for PDA starts state Q with Z0, for every read operation in state Q0, 3 A's are added. Okay, and when it is encountering B, it is removing A from the stack. Okay, so your possible matching sequence, the language accepted by the PDA is what? A raised to N into B raised to 3N, where N is greater than 0. That is your option number C will be your correct answer for this particular question. Let's move on to the next. Okay, a computer with cache access time of 10 ns nanoseconds, a main memory access time of 1100 nanoseconds, and a hit ratio of 0.9, then average access time would be what? Okay, so let's see. Hit ratio 0.9 means 90% of the time the data is found in the cache. How many times? 90% of the time. Cache access time is given. Okay, so cache access time is 100 ns. Okay, that is 100 nanosecond. Miss ratio is 1 minus 0.9, so straight away miss ratio is 0.1, that is your 10%. And main memory access time is given as 1100 nanosecond. So the average access time is basically equal to hit ratio into cache access time, CAT, cache access time, into plus miss ratio plus into main memory access time, MMAT. So remember this way, average access time is equal to hit ratio into cache access time plus miss ratio into main memory access time. Okay, so here you can see the formula as well. Okay, so let's pen down all the values. So average access time will be, what is hit ratio? 0.9. What is cache access time given to us? 100 plus, okay, bracket, plus what is miss ratio? 0.1. And what is the main memory access time? The main memory access time is 1100 nanosecond. Okay, so if you calculate this, 0.9 into 100 will give you 90, and 0.1 into 1100 will give you 110. So your correct answer will be 200 nanoseconds. Okay, that is your option number A will be your correct answer for this particular questions. Okay, so answer A, 200 nanosecond will be the average access time for this particular system. Let's move on to the next. The instruction LDADRX, which is equivalent to AC, okay, MADR plus XR, is in which addressing mode form? Okay, it is in which addressing mode form? Okay, so the instruction which is equivalent to this one is using index addressing mode. Is using what? Index addressing mode. That is your option number C. See, basically in index addressing mode, the effective address of the operand is generated by adding a constant value to ADR. Constant value ADR to the contents of index register. This XR is index register. Okay, so in index addressing mode, the address of the operand is generated by adding a constant value, that is ADR, adding constant value ADR to what? To the contents of index register, to XR, basically contents of index register. This is index register. Okay, so this is your index addressing mode. That is your option number C is your correct answer for this particular question. Let's move on to the next. Okay, which of the followings are white box testing? Okay, path testing is a type of white box testing because that involves testing the paths within the code to ensure all possible paths are executed at once. Loop testing is also another form of white box testing that focuses on validation of loops within the code to ensure they function properly under the various conditions. Rigorous testing is a type of black box testing, not white box testing, because that ensures new code changes does not adversely affect the existing functionalities of the software. And non-functional testing is also a type of what? Black box testing, not white box, because it checks the non-functional components such as performance, usability, and reliability. Okay, so your path testing and loop testing are the white box testing examples. So your option A is your correct answer for this particular question, that is A and B. Okay, let's move on to the next. IP is responsible for dash communication while TCP is responsible for what type of communication? IP is responsible for host to host communication while TCP is responsible for process to process communication. Always remember. Okay, so your correct answer is IP is responsible for host to host communication, whereas TCP is responsible for process to process communication. Okay, meaning what? TCP ensures a reliable delivery of data between processes running on different hosts, whereas IP is responsible for handling or addressing of packets from one host to another host. Okay, so your option D is your correct answer for this particular question. Let's move on to next. Okay, according to the Nyquist theorem, to produce the original analog signal, one necessary condition is what? Okay, what is the necessary condition? Sampling rate must be at least 2 times the highest frequency contained in the signal. Yes, this is the one necessary condition that is required in according to Nyquist theorem to produce the original analog signal. Okay, that is the sampling rate must be twice, at least twice the highest frequency contained in the signal. Okay, now what is Nyquist theorem? Nyquist theorem is a sampling theorem, state that in order to accurately reconstruct an analog signal from its samples, the sampling rate must be twice the highest frequency present in the original signal. Okay, so that is your option number A is your right answer for this particular question. Let's say question number 74. For the following parent in figure 1 and 2, okay, figures are given with parent, okay, which one is correct? Okay, so here if you can see, parent are given, okay, and cut or crossover point is given. Okay, crossover is what? A crossover is basically mixing genes of two parents to create new kids, okay, or new solutions, basically in simple terms. So here if you see, here the crossover is after the fifth bit, and after just one cut, the right hand side is swapped. The right hand side, or you can say the right hand part of the parent is swapped among themselves. Okay, so meaning what? It is after one cut or one crossover point, it is swapped. Okay, so straight away you can mark figure 2 is 1 point crossover of figure 1. Okay, it is what? It is nothing but 1 point crossover. Why? Because the right parts of the parent 1 and parent 2 are swapped after just one crossover point. Okay, so it is what? It is 1 point crossover figure. Okay, now what are the other option? 2 point crossover. 2 point crossover has two separate crossover points, but here there is only one cut, so this gets eliminated. N point means multiple crossover points are there, more than one. Okay, so this is also wrong. Uniform crossover means randomly chooses each bit independently from one of the parent. Okay, no fixed crossover point, so option D also gets eliminated. Your correct answer is option number B, 1 point crossover. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, match the list question is there. Question number 75. Thread spawn, block thread, jacketing, flush. Okay, so why are they used? Okay, now let's see one by one. Thread spawn is basically what? This refers to creation of a new thread, and the thread is provided with its own register context. Okay, so this goes to option number 4. Okay, right. Next, block thread. Block thread basically refers to the action of putting a thread in waiting state. Okay, block state means waiting state, allowing the processor to turn to the execution of another ready state. Okay, so block thread is basically what? It enables the processor to turn to the execution of another thread by putting the current thread in waiting state. So this option B goes here. Okay, jacketing. What is jacketing? This refers to the technique used to convert a blocking system call into a non-blocking system call. Okay, so basically it is to convert blocking system call into a non-blocking call. Okay, so option C goes here. Let's try to eliminate. A goes for 4, so this 2 gets straight away eliminated. B goes for 3, B goes for 3, C goes for first, C goes for first, so this gets eliminated as well. Last option, flush, is used to reclaim the pages in memory management. Okay, so option D goes here. So your correct pattern is thread spawn is what? Thread is provided with its own register context. Block thread puts the current thread in waiting state and allows the processor to turn to the execution of another thread, another ready thread. Jacketing is to convert blocking system call into non-blocking call, and last, flush is to reclaim pages in memory management. Okay, so your correct matching option pattern is option number C is your right answer. Let's move on to the next. Okay, in Windows scheduling, which of the following is correct? Okay, in Windows scheduling, which of the following is Correct. Now, what is Windows scheduling? Windows scheduling uses a priority driven preemptive scheduling algorithm. Okay, and in Windows operating system, there are 7 different priority levels for non-real-time tasks. Sorry, there are 16 different priority levels for non-real-time tasks. Okay, once again, I will be repeating. Sorry for the number mistake. Windows scheduling. What is Windows scheduling? Windows scheduling uses priority-driven preemptive scheduling algorithm. And in Windows operating system, there are 16 different priority levels for non-real-time tasks. Okay. Now these priority levels basically range from 0 to 15. 0 to 15, where 0 indicates the lowest priority and 15 indicates the highest priority. Okay, tasks are assigned to a priority level and the scheduler selects the task as it has been done in the scheduler. Okay, so your answer option D is your right answer, that is 16 non-real-time priorities are there in Windows scheduling. That is your answer number D. Okay, let's move on to the next. Okay, what will be the order of the following fields in a frame relay frame format? Okay, what will be the order of the following fields? Okay, so first start with flag. Okay, this is correct. Then comes the address, then comes your information, and then comes your FCS, that is your frame check sequence. Okay, so your the frame relay frame format is basically the frame start with a flag field, that is your option number A. Okay, which indicates the beginning of the frame. Then comes your address, that is your option number C. The address field follows the flag field and contains the data, link, connection identifier and other control information. Next comes your information, actual information, that is your option number D, which carries the data payload. And last is your FCS, that is your option number B. The frame ends with FCS field, that is frame check sequence, which is used for error detection. So your correct pattern is ACDB. Okay, ACDB, that is your answer option A. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, what will be the ordering of typical steps when processing a high level query? Okay, so whenever we are processing a high level query, what will be the steps? So first of all, the first step that we do is scanning, parsing and validating. First of all, the first step is to scan the query, parse it to understand. Okay, this is not parsing, this is parsing. R. Okay, so first we do scanning, scan the query, parse it to understand its structure and validate it to follows the structure format, that is the correct syntax format. After this is query optimization. Second step is query optimization. What is done here? Once the query is validated, the query optimizer find the most efficient way to execute the query. Okay, after this, query code generator is the next step. What is done here? After optimization, the query code generator translates the optimized query plan into executable code. And at last is runtime database processor that executes the generated code to retrieve the required data from database. Okay, so let's put down the steps. First is option C, that is the first step is to scan the query, parse it and validate if it is following the structure or the syntax. Next is query optimizer, that is option number A. It finds the most efficient way to execute the query. After that comes your query code generator. Okay, that translates your query plan into optimized executable code. And at last, a runtime database processor is there, that is your option B. Okay, that executes the generated code to retrieve the required data from database. So your correct pattern will be CADB, that is your answer option B is your correct answer for this particular question. Let's move on to the next. Which of the following are true in case of tree locking? Okay, in case of tree locking, which of them is true. So first of all, you should know what is tree locking. Okay, tree locking is a locking protocol used in databases to manage concurrent transactions. Okay, it is what? It is a locking protocol used in databases to manage concurrent transactions. Okay, so first line, it ensures shorter waiting times. No, it doesn't ensure shorter waiting times. Okay, so basically in tree locking, transaction must lock nodes in a tree structure following a specific order to prevent circular wait conditions. Okay, which ensures freedom from deadlock. Okay, that is your option B is your correct with respect to true locking. Okay, so tree locking ensures that it ensures freedom from deadlock. Tree locking allows a transaction to lock data items earlier in its execution, which helps in maintaining the required order of locking. Okay, so transaction can lock data items earlier. Okay, so that the required order of locking is maintained. It does not ensure greater amount of concurrency. No, it is used to manage concurrent transaction. Okay, so this is wrong. Okay, tree locking does not necessarily ensure shorter waiting times. Okay, because waiting time depend on various factors like workload and specific implementation of locking protocol. And here option D, tree locking can actually ensure a greater amount of concurrency because it allows for more flexible lock acquisition compared to strict two-phase locking protocol. Okay, so your option B and option C statement are correct. So B and C, that is your option number. Answer option C is your correct answer for this particular question. Let's move on to the next. Which of the following are type of interface in an ATM network? Okay, that is your asynchronous transfer mode network, not normal ATM. This is your asynchronous transfer mode network. Okay, now what is ATM? It basically has types of interfaces. That is two types. That is UNI and NNI. Okay, UNI is basically what? User to network, user to network, and NNI is basically network to network, network to network. Okay, only these two types of interfaces are there. Okay, UNI is basically this interface connects end user to the ATM network. It essentially for the user to access the network services, and NNI connects different ATM switches within the network. It is used for interconnecting different parts of the network to ensure smooth data transfer. Okay, so which of the following are the type of interface in the ATM? As you know now, UNI, that is user to network, and network to network. User to user, no. User to network, yes. Network to network, yes. Host to network, no. User to host, no. So only B and C is your correct statements. Okay, so that is your answer. Option B is your correct answer for this particular question. Let's move on to the next. A bit string of length 4 is generated at random. What is the probability that it come at least two consecutive zeros given that the first bit is 0? Okay, so consider a bit string of length 4 generated at random. So if we generate 4 bit string random, so what can be the combination? Let's put down the combination. It can be 0 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 1 0, right? 0 0 1 1, this is 0. Okay, 0 1 double 0, 0 1 0 1, 0 1 1 0, 0 1 1 1. Okay, now what is the probability that it contains at least at least two consecutive zero given that first bit is zero. Okay, I have not written triple one or something because here our main motto is to identify that two consecutive zeros. What it is saying, what is the probability that it contains at least two consecutive zeros? Two consecutive zeros given that first bit is zero. Given that first bit is zero and two consecutive is zero. So what can be the possible combination? This, right? Starting bit is zero and two consecutive zero. Again, starting bit is zero, two consecutive zero. Starting bit is 0 and two consecutive zeros, right? Starting bit is 0 and two consecutive zero. Again this one as well. Okay, right? So these can be the possible combination. So now let's count the number of string, how much it is. This is 5, right? And this is 8. Okay, we need to find the probability. So simply it will be equal to 5 divided by 8 will be your probability for this particular pattern. Okay, so option C will be your right answer, that is 5 by 8 will be the probability. Okay, let's move on to the next. Okay, match list 1 with list 2. Okay, so check with the easiest one. Okay, complement is given, XOR. Okay, so one by one. Complement is used in what? Representation of negative numbers, particularly in binary system. Okay, so complement is used in negative number representation, so option A goes for third one, right? XOR is gate is commonly used in adder circuit or binary addition, right? So this goes for the option number first. Let's try to eliminate. A goes for 3, A goes for 3, so this 2 gets eliminated. B goes for 1, so this itself also gets eliminated. Okay, accumulator. Why we use accumulator is a register in the CPU that stores intermediate arithmetic and logical results. Okay, so this goes for option C. And control unit is basically used for what? Decoding instructions. Okay, so your option A, that is complement, is used for negative number representation. XOR is used in binary additions. Adder. Accumulator is used to store the result of arithmetic and logical operations, and control unit is used in instruction decoding. So your option C is your match option from this particular question. Okay, so your option C is your right answer. Let's move on to the next. Backpropagation is a learning technique that adjusts weight in the neural network by propagating weight changes forward from source to hidden nodes, backward from sink to source, forward from source to sink, backward from sink to hidden nodes. Okay, so a backpropagation is a learning technique that adjusts weight in the neural network from backward from sink to source. Okay, backward, always backward from sink to source, from sink to source. Okay, so basically backpropagation is a supervised learning technique for training artificial neural networks. It involves adjusting the weights of the network to minimize error between the actual output and the expected output, and the process works by propagating the error backward from the output layer that is sink to the input layer that is source. Okay, so your correct answer for this particular question is option number B. Let's move on to the next. Match the pattern, verification, validation, internal logic exercise, software requirement exercise. Okay, one by one, let's see. Verification is what? Verification is the process of evaluating software to ensure it meets the requirement at a certain stage of a development. Basically, focusing on quality assurance. What? Quality assurance. Okay, so your option A goes here. Okay, let's try to eliminate. A goes for 4, so these two gets eliminated straight away. Okay, validation is the process of evaluating the final product to ensure if it meets the business requirement as expected or not. Okay, so basically it is what? Quality control, checking the quality at the end. Okay. Next, internal logic exercise. Now, when it comes to internal, knowing or testing the internal path, then it is related to white box testing. And last, software requirement exercise. That means ensures that software meets the specified requirements. This is done through black box testing. Black box testing. Okay. So your option, this one gets eliminated. A goes for 4, that is verification, meaning quality assurance. Then B goes for 3, that is validation checks for quality control. Okay, internal logic exercise is basically white box testing, and your software requirement exercise is what? Uh, Black box testing. So your matching option is your option number A is your correct answer for this particular question. Let's move on to the next. Okay, for the fuzzy set is given. The complement of A would be represented as what? Okay, so the fuzzy set is given. Now for complement, for representing the complement, so we know we minus it from 1. We minus the element value from 1. For suppose x1 we have, so for x1 we will be doing what? We will be minusing from 1. What is the actual value here? 0.3. So it will be 0.7 complement. For x2, 1 minus 0.7, yes, 1 minus 0.7, so it will be 0.3. And x3, 1 minus 0.4, so it will be 0.6. So the correct complement will be x1 comma 0.7, x2 comma 0.3, and x3 comma 0.6. Let's see which pattern matches this. 0.7, 0.3, 0.6. So your correct answer is option number C is your correct answer. Okay, let's move on to the next. Which of the following is markup language? Okay, you should know what is markup language first of all. Okay, markup language are of many types first of all. Okay, extensible markup language for data, standard markup language. Okay, so there are different types of it. So starting with the first one, HTML, yes, hypertext markup language. It is used for what? To creating web pages. XML, yes, it is also a markup language that defines a set of rules for encoding document in a format that both human and machine can read. Okay, DHTML, that is a dynamic HTML, okay, is also a kind of HTML. Okay, so this also comes under this markup language category. LML and PML are not standard or widely recognized markup language, so these two are the incorrect options. So your correct options are A, B, C. That is your option answer option D. Okay, answer option D is your correct answer for this particular question. Let's move on to the next. Okay, the Boolean expression for the following would be what? Okay, question number 87 is given. So let's try to simplify this. So let's create a map. Okay, here we have A bar, and here we have A. Okay, then your BC at top, so B bar, C bar, then comes, sorry for the drawing, B bar C, then comes BC, and then comes BC bar. Okay, so this will be the pattern. So now what it is stating, okay, so don't care terms we have given 1, 3, 5. Okay, and others are 0 to 6. So first we will plot that mean terms, and that is 0 will come here, right? Your 2 and 6, 2 will come here, and 6 will come here. Don't care terms we will put here. First is 1, then 3, and then your 5. Okay, so what don't care terms are denoted by X, okay, to indicate that for certain combination of variables the output value can be either 0 or 1. So these terms provide the flexibility basically for simplification. So now we will try to simplify this. First we will group the elements, so this becomes the first group, right, and this becomes the second group of cluster. Okay, so let's pen down this. So it will be a bar, b bar, c bar, okay, plus a bar, b bar, c, plus a bar, b, c, plus a bar, b, c bar. Okay, this is the first group. Okay, then plus these two again, a bar, b, c bar, plus a, b, c bar. Okay, this one. So after combining this, we can simplify. A comes outside of this. Okay, then we have b bar, c bar, plus b bar, c, plus vc, plus vc bar, and here we can take common is b c bar, and that is a bar plus a. Okay, so with this, if you see the pattern here, we have b bar, c bar, bc, b bar, c, b, c bar. So this goes and only remains what? Okay, here a bar will come. Okay, so comes what? A bar, and here we have b, c bar. Okay, so the simplified version will be a bar plus b, c bar. Okay, so your correct answer will be option number D, that is a bar plus b, c bar. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, which of the following have truth values if the universe of discourse consists of all integer? Okay, so let's move to the question number 88. Yeah, so first one, let's see one by one. This means for every integer n, there exists an integer m such that n square is less than m. This is always true because if we can choose m, if we can choose what? Choose m equal to n square plus 1, which will always be greater than n square. Which will always be greater than what? N square. Okay, this is m. Okay, so this is true. This is true. Next, n is less than m square. This means there exists m integer such that n is less than m square. Okay, so let n equal to 0, m equal to 1. Okay, so 0 less than 1 square equal to 1. Okay, so this is also true, right? Next, this means there exists integer n m such that n square plus m square equal to 5. Okay, let's take it with the example. N equal to 1, m equal to 2, and if we do in put this in the equation, 1 square plus 2 square, okay, that will be equal to 1 plus 4, and that will be equal to 5. Okay, so this is also correct. Next, option D, this is n square plus m square equal to 5. Okay, straight away just now we have seen it is equal to 5, so it can't be equal to 6. Okay, so this is wrong. Next, m plus n equal to 4, okay, raised to n minus m equal to 1. Okay, so for let's say n minus 1 equal to m, we get n equal to m plus 1, right? So if we substitute, then m plus n equal to 4, so that will imply what? That will imply your what? N will be equal to 2.5. Okay, so no integer solution exists, so invalid statement. So your only option A, B and C statements are true. Okay, so A, B, C statements are true. That is your answer. Option A is the correct answer. Let's move to the next. Okay, for the given two machine, which of the following is correct? Both machine are DFAs, both are non-equivalent machine, both are equivalent machine, and cannot be determined. Okay, so first machine states, what are the states for first machine? Let's say machine 1 and machine 2. We will be having the matrix states, alphabet, final state, and transitions. Then we have transitions. Okay, let's pen down this for both the machines. Let's take M1 here. Okay, so for M1 the states are A, B, right? M2 it is A, B, C. Alphabets are what? A comma B, and here it is A comma B. Okay, final state, what is the final state here? B, and here is B, C. Transitions for the first machine is like A stays at A, from A, right? From A stays at A. From B, it goes from A, moves to A, B stays at B, Here A, from A it moves to B. Follow the diagram. A it moves to B, moves B. From B, A stays at B, B moves to C, and from C it is like A, B, for AB. A moves to B, and B stays at C, Okay, so both the machines are what? Are NFA. Okay, and both can accept the same string. Okay, both can accept the same string. So we can conclude what? We can conclude that both the machines are equivalent machines. Both the machines are what? Equivalent machine. Why is so? Because both the machines are NFA and both can accept the same type of strings. Okay, so your answer is option number C will be your right answer. Let's move to the next. Okay, arrange the following prefix expression based on their value in the increasing order. Okay, so we need to arrange the prefix. Let's see one by one. So first here is given plus, so first evaluate the innermost. Okay, we will just evaluate the innermost thing, that is divide 8 by this one. Divide, first we will divide 8 by 4, that will give us 2. Okay, next 2 into 2, that gives us 4. Okay, this way 2 into 2, that gives us 4. Then we have minus 4, 3, that gives us 1, and at the last plus 1, 2, that will gives us 3. Next this one, first we will evaluate asterisk 3 into 3, so that will give us 9. Then 4 into 2, that will give us 8, then minus 9, 8, that will give us 1, and at last 1 raised to 5, that gives us 1. Okay, next evaluate the innermost. So first we will evaluate raised to 3 2, that will give us 3 raised to 2, that is 9. After that again 2 raised to 3, that will give us 8. After that minus 9 8, that will give us 1. After that minus 4 2, that will give us 2. After that divide 6 2, that will give us 3, and at last 1 plus 3, that will give us 4. Okay, so last one. So first we will do what? Evaluate the operations plus 3 plus 3. Okay, first we will do this. Okay, and plus plus 2 3, this 1 plus 1 becomes this becomes 2. Okay, so this will go like this, 3 2 3. First we will resolve. After that we have asterisk 3 plus 3 9 3. Okay, after that asterisk 1 5 3, and then at the last if they do this, this will give you 15 3s are 45. Okay, so from the increasing order, your option B will come first, then your option A, then your option C, then your option D. So this will be the correct increasing order as respect to the values of this particular prefix expressions will be. So your option B will be your correct answer for this particular question. Okay, let's move on to the next. Question number 91. Okay, so question number 91 to 95 is based on this particular comprehension. A firm can produce two type of cloth, let's say A and B. A and B. Okay, two types of cloth are there, A and B, that you can say type 1 and type 2. Okay, three kinds of wools are required for it. Let's say red wool, green wool, and blue wool. Okay, we will pen down red wool, green wool, and blue wool. Okay, 1 unit of length of type A cloth needs 2 yards of red, 3 yards of green wool. Okay, for type A cloth, for 1 unit of type A cloth, it needs 2 yards of red and 3 yards of green wool. Okay, see, basically, if you observe, we are using or forming the LPP question, right? So one unit length of type B cloth needs 3 yards of red wool and 2 yards of green wool. 3 yards of red wool and 2 yards of green wool, and 2 yards of blue wool as well. Okay, the firm has a stock of 8 yards of red wool. Okay, 8 yards of red wool meaning less than equal to 8. Okay, 10 yards of green wool, again less than equal to 10, and 15 yards of blue uh, blue. Okay, it is assumed that the income obtained from 1 unit length of type A and type B clothes are 30 and 50 respectively. 30 and 50 respectively. So it is a maximization question where our Z is equal to 30x plus 50y. 50y. And what are the equations, formulation equations here? Okay, so we have 2x plus 3y, okay, less than 8, less than equal to 8. Okay, from here, okay, 2x plus 3y, 3x plus 2y, and then 2y. So 3x plus 2y is less than equal to 10, 2y is less than equal to 15. So from here straight away we can formulate 7.5 as y, but we won't do that. We will solve these two equation. Once you solve these two equation, you will get x equal to 2.8 and y equal to 0.8. Okay, using this, if you solve the equation, you will get Let's put down into z equation. So 30 into 2.8 plus 50 into 0.8. Okay, that will give you 84 plus 40. Okay, that will give you 24. But here it is to maximize the total income. Okay, so we will try with x equal to 1.6 and y equal to 2. Okay, so using this, if we try this 30 1.6 plus 50 as 2, so as 2, this will give you 133.3. Okay, so that is your option number A will be the maximum total income that can be generated. Okay, your option A will be the right answer for this particular question. Let's move on to the next. Okay, same. If x unit of length type A cotton, y unit length of type B clothes, then constraint formulate for which of the LPP? Okay, we have formulated the LPP. So let's identify that 2x plus 3y less than equal to 8, 3x plus 2y less than equal to 10, and y is less than equal to 7.5. No, 2y. Okay, we have the formulas, right? We have formulated, right? 2x plus 3y, it was less than equal to 8. 3x plus 2y, this was less than equal to 10, right? Then we had 2y 2y less than equal to 50, right? These were the equations. So 2x, so this y we can formulate as less than equal to 7.5, right? So yeah, so let's see one by one. Y less than equal to 7.5, 2x plus 3y is less than equal to 8, 3y plus 2x, so this is wrong, 3x plus 2y. Y less than equal to 7.5, 2x plus 3y is less than 8, 3x plus 2y is less than equal to 10. Yes, this is the correct option. Okay, your B option is the correct answer for this particular question. Start with the question number 93. Which of the following appropriate objective function for the given problem? Yes, we have pen down our objective function earlier itself. It is 30x plus 50y, right? So straight away you can mark your option number C is your correct answer for this particular question. Okay, so that's why it is very important to pen down everything in the first question itself. Okay, your LPP constraints, your objective functions, right? So z equal to 30x plus 50y will be your objective function. Okay, let's move on to the next. Okay, we formulate the LPP. What will be the which of the following objective function for its dual purpose? That is the minimum. Okay, if you see here, 8 yards of wool, 10 yards of green wool, and 15 yards of blue wool. Okay, that is your 8u plus 10v plus 15w. If you state it like this, in a minimum p, okay, so straight away you can mark the answer. Option number B will be your right answer for this particular question. Okay, let's move on to the next. Okay, how many unit length used for cloth A when income is maximized? Okay, when the income is maximized. Okay, so it is asking, basically it is asking for the value of x, for the value of what? X. Okay, so we have formulated, right? We have formulated x, right, as what? 2 2.8, right? Okay, and even though you don't remember, it's simply 2x plus 3y equal to 8, and 3x plus 2y equal to 10. Okay, so if we multiply, let's say first equation by 3, okay, and second equation by 2, this is 24, and second equation by 2, that will give us 6s and 4y, and this becomes 20. So straight away this cancel, 5y equal to what, 4. So your y becomes 4 by 5, right? And you can put it in any of the equation. So let's say I'm putting it in the first equation itself, that is 2x plus 3y. So 3 into y, that is 4 by 5, okay, equal to 8. Now you can multiply straight away, 2x plus 12 by 5 equal to 8, and now x will be equal to, okay, 2x will be equal to 8 minus 12 by 5. Okay, 5 8s are 40. 40 minus 12 gives you 28. So this becomes 28 by 5. And if you divide both the side by 2, so you will get 14 by 5. And when you divide 14 by 5, you will get x equal to 2.8, which is your option number C is your correct answer. That is how many length unit will be used for cloth A. Okay, that is option number C. Let's move on to the next. Okay, now question number 96 to 100 is based on this particular comprehension. A company is implementing a new database system to manage its customer information. The database contains table for customer orders, products, and sale representative. Each customer can place multiple order, and each order can contain multiple product. Each order is associated with specific sales representative who manages the account. The database is designed to improve efficiency in tracking sales and customer interactions. Okay, so what it is asking, the first question, which SQL query retrieves the total number of distinct customer who have placed order? Okay, distinct customer who have placed order. Okay, so select count distinct customer ID as total customers from order. Yes, this is the correct SQL statement. SQL star count as total customer, wrong. Straight away it gets eliminated. Count order ID, or this will give you the return order ID. Okay, customer ID from customers, count customer ID as from customers. Okay, so wrong. Okay, we are, this is also last one is wrong because we are asked who have placed orders, not from the customers, not distinct customers. We want the number of distinct customers who have placed the order. So your option A is your correct answer for this particular question. Okay, let's move on to the next. Which of the following best describes the relationship between orders, the order table and customer table in company's database? One order, okay, let's say one order is there, okay, that can be placed by many customers. Okay, one particular customer, one particular order can be placed by many customers. Okay, a single record in one customer can be associated with one or more this one to many relation record, meaning one customer can place many records. Okay, so one to many relationship is here. Okay, so option B is your right answer. Let's move to the next. Okay, which of the following table is likely to have a foreign key referencing another table in database implemented by the company? Okay, so it is asking for the reference. Okay, if you see each order is associated with a specific rail sales representative who manages the account. Okay, you need to read this line. Okay, so the order table is likely to have a foreign key because typically references other tables in the database such as customer, products, and even sales representative. Okay, so your order table will be having a foreign key referencing into the other tables as well. Okay, so what is foreign key? A foreign key is a field or a collection of field in one table that uniquely identifies a row into the another table, right? So customer, first if we check for customer, the customer typically stores customer information such as name, address, and contact detail. It does not reference other tables, right? But can be referenced by other tables like orders. Product Product table contains information about products, while it can be referenced by other table like orders. Okay. And sales representative, it holds the data about sale representative. Okay. So your order table will be having a foreign key referencing into the another table while designing this particular company database. So your answer B is your right answer. Let's move on to the next. Which SQL query retrieves the total number of orders placed by a specific customer? Okay, total number of orders. Whenever we say total number, then we need to count the order ID. Okay, order from orders where customer ID. Okay, so select count as total order from orders where customer ID. This will give all orders. Okay, this will give all orders. Okay, so this is wrong. This is wrong. Select count order ID as total orders from order where customer ID equal to customer ID. Yes, this is the exact query that will retrieve you the total number of orders placed by a specific customer. Let's see the other wrong one. Distinct order ID. No, not valid. Sum. This will give you the sum of the order ID numbers. Okay, so your valid SQL statement is option B, that is select count order ID as total orders from orders where customer ID equal to customer ID. That is option number B will be your right answer. Let's move on to the question number 100. That is your last question. Based on the passage, which of the following statement is true? Each customer can place only one order. Is this true? No. Each sales representative who can manage multiple customer accounts. Okay, each sales representative can manage multiple customer account. Yes. Each order can be associated with only one product. No. Multiple order, multiple product. The database does not include a table for product. There is a table for product. Okay, so these options gets eliminated. Option B, each sales representative can manage multiple customer accounts. Right, so this is the right option. That is option number B will be your correct answer for this particular question. Okay students, with this we complete our part 2 of June 2024 computer science paper. Okay, so we have completed the entire June 2024 offline paper with solutions starting from question number 1 to question number 100. This was part 2. Do check out the part 1. It's also if you haven't. Okay, so do like this particular video. If you found this explanation useful, do like and share the video, and do not forget to subscribe to the Instant Seekh channel. Keep on practicing the PYQs, because as per your UGC NET examination, PYQs helps a lot. Okay, so do keep practicing. Do join our social media handles, and thank you. Jai Hind.